It's coming. You're filming?
Yeah, but
Who's filming? Right. Alright guys, I'm Rabea.
And I'm Matt.
And this is Sound Like on Andertons TV. We're back at it again with more Sounds Like videos.
Yes, we are. This is Sound Like Mastodon.
By busting the bank.
By busting the bank. So we all know what that means. That means it's colossally expensive, hopefully a lot closer to the rigs they actually use.
It's exciting. They just released a new album.
They did.
Emperor of Sand.
And it's really good. So
yes.
This is a really well-timed video, hopefully. It should be fun. Last one was really good as well.
It's going to be really loud.
Yes.
It's going to be really fun. And it's going to be really heavy with lots of riffs.
That sounds terrible.
Sounds like my breakfast. Well, I'm doing Brent Hinds, and normally we would go for, I suppose with it being Brent Hinds, he's got his own signature Epiphone V, which Andertons don't actually have in stock, but because it's by busting, I'm just going to get a really, really nice V, so let's go have a look. Well, there are two Vs here.
Yes, there are.
These are the only two, it seems.
How about 2017?
Yeah, these are the new Gibson 2017.
£1,200.
£1,200 is alright. I mean, the problem that the problem I foresee is that I'm not very good at holding and playing V.
You have to wedge it in your leg.
Yeah, and so, I mean...
You'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
And that is beautiful.
So there you go.
Look at it.
And it's got Dirty Fingers pickups in it. This is the guitar for me and Brent Hinds.
Boom. Now Bill Kelliher. He has a signature ESP. And a signature amp, so it's a little bit boring, but can you not use it? Probably not. So his signature guitar is right here, the ESP LTD Bill Kelliher, which is
oh mate, look at
a
that
stonker, and it has lace sense pickups and this kind of matte black with like a greeny burst top here.
It's a lovely looking guitar.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, and I'm sure it'll sound amazing. So I'm going to use this. Right, we have guitars. I think will be suitably Mastodon-y.
Yep. We should get your amp first.
We should get my amp first.
Because with any luck, they have the Bill Kelliher signature Friedman in stock.
Which has an amazing name.
It does.
It's called the Butter Slacks.
It's great. Well, there you go.
This is the Butter Slacks, the Bill Kelliher signature.
Shall I lift it up?
It's rather heavy, but it is a beautiful, beautiful amplifier. So I am definitely going to be using this for my rig. Paired up with this Friedman 2x12.
$779, $799 even.
$799, so that's £800 for the cab. The head is also crazy, crazy expensive, but hopefully, well, by the sounds of the other demos I've heard, it should sound amazing.
Yeah. Now we're on to Brent Hinds, and this is going to be slightly more of a challenge, purely based on the fact that Brent Hinds uses diesel, which we can't get. But there's also, I've seen oranges and Marshall plexis, and it also uses some Fenders for cleans. So I guess the options really are, do I go orange, do I go Marshall, do I go Friedman as well, or do I get something like unexpected and then get a couple of pedals to compensate? So I've made a decision to not use orange, only because, although I think tonally it could be close, the problem with orange amps is they're meant to be played loud, and although we play loud, I think to get the kind of sound out of it that I want to get, it needs to be turned up a lot, and with a 100-watt valve head, I mean, even on half power, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just think that's going to be a bit too fizzy and it's going to be hard to control. So I had another thought, and I was going to ask Matt about this. So, Brent Hinds uses a JMP Marshall and a diesel. So one of those is the British, sort of vintage British like high gain, and the other one's a German modern high gain. I'm thinking Victory VX Kraken, because gain 1 is a JCM 900 style British voiced crunch or high gain, and then gain 2 is your American sort of 50 on 50 style.
It's a convincing argument.
I think it's a convincing argument.
Do it. It's going to be loud enough. It's going to be, maybe get 212, so I'm 212 as well.
Yep. Couple of pedals, EQ to maybe have extra tonal flex.
If you think it'll get close, then...
I think it'll get close.
Especially with the tube screamer up front.
Yeah.
Pedals. Let's do Brent Hinds.
Do Brent Hinds. Okay, so obviously he uses a tube screamer style pedal, and we've got a plethora of tube screamers to choose from.
Yes, we do.
You could go for your standard TS808, you could go for a Maxon TS808, you could go OD9, you could go... There's so many different ones. But I just spotted this pedal, the Keeley Oxblood. Now, I don't know what it is. It looks like a drive pedal of some form here, and it's got a fat switch. So I'm going to get that just based on the name.
Right.
Because I think that speaks true to the Mastodon kind of vibe, you know. Do we need to get any kind of leady sounds?
Potentially, we were talking about getting an EQ each again.
Yes, we were.
So we should do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get an octave. Bill Kelliher uses Axe Effects. Andertons don't stock Axe Effects, so in this case, I'm going to pick out just some bits of the sound which I'm trying to replicate. So I'll go for an octave. I might just rely, an EQ should push the amp, and then I'll hopefully rely on the amp for the rest of the sound, given that it's a signature amp. I'm
going to get a clon as well, because I like what clons do to the front of amplifiers, just to see. So different variations of distortions. Obviously you've got your octave and then EQ to just sort of get tones closer. And I think I'm going to throw in some form of delay reverb style pedal, because Brent plays a little lead. Even if we don't play any lead, it's good to have the option there. We've got some bits. All these hopefully going to get us to sound even better than the last time we tried to sound like Mastodon.
Yeah, we need to pick up a few more bits out of the back.
A few more bits.
But these bits should get us a bit closer.
Well, let's go grab your bits then.
Okay.
Back in the room.
We are back in the video room.
And I'm just going to say this right now. I think I have found a new favourite tone that we've ever done on Soundbite.
I've got to say, of all the tones, the one Rabea's got here is exceptional.
I'm well chuffed. So without further ado, let's just jump straight in. Let's start with your rig.
Okay. Well, basically, nice and simple. I have Bill Kelliher's signature LTD here.
Which is a beauty guitar.
Yeah, just LP style, kind of like the satin black, as I said in the shop, with lace sensor pickups and locking tuners, made in Korea. It's basically...
It's a really tidy guitar.
It's a really tidy guitar, really, really beautiful. And that is running directly, well, actually through these pedals, obviously, but straight in the front of this Friedman, which is the Butter Slacks, his signature.
It's a great name.
It is a great name, isn't it? Great word. But yeah, it's his signature head, and that's running into the 2x12 Friedman here as well. One thing to note, as always, is that it's really exceptionally loud.
Yeah, it is.
So I've been playing on approximately between, if 0.5 was a setting, I'll be around there, and 1. So, yeah, it's really loud. And then I've got my EQ up front and going straight into the Pog 2. I could use a micro Pog, and this one's a bit more involved, but we didn't have any around. So I've gone with the Pog 2 as we didn't have any budget restraints. And that is running into this.
It's a love pedal, isn't it?
It's a love pedal reverb, yeah, Reverb 3. It's a relatively straightforward rig.
What sound on the amp were you using most of, do you think?
Mostly I was on the Gain 3 channel, which is the highest of the 3 channels, gain-wise. And yeah, gain's riding on about half. And as I said, the master, exceptionally low. It sounds good. It sounds good.
It's got a really rounded, grunty mid thing.
It is a really, really grunty setup, but it sounds lovely straight in, which is great. I didn't actually end up using the EQ, as it seemed to kind of make everything a little bit more
boxy almost.
Yeah, compressed. Yeah. So with the POG 2, that for that octave, the lower octave sound.
That sounds sick.
That is my favourite sound. I love a really nice, thick, high gain sound with powerful guitar and a nice sub-octave wins for me every time. Yeah, so that's my rig. Relatively simple, but obviously, as it's it's by busting the bank, it's colossally expensive.
Fair. Well, let's get onto my rig.
Let's get onto
because I'm well excited about it. Just to point out, I think both rigs sound amazing. So I'd happily own either of them.
Definitely, and they do sound really, really different, but still as like, I think on a par quality wise, but just a different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So. I guess I'll start with the amplifier. I'm using a 6L6 Victory VX Kraken. I thought, Channel 1 is more British, Channel 2 is American. I actually just used Channel 1 the whole time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because it's a bit thicker and more full-bodied than Gain 2. However, that is the amplifier.
Incidentally, is that the more British one?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes. I know he uses a JMP and the diesel, so, we're over our side of the pond anyway.
Yeah.
In any case, that's the amp, and I'll show you right after I show you the guitar. So, I'm not a V guy. However, this is a V. This is a Gibson Flying V, 2017 Flying V standard.
It's very nice.
I must admit,
it is very nice.
Now I've learned how to hold them. So you put the bottom of the V here and you just sit like this. It's kind of nice for that classical guitarist thing. Yeah. But in any case, it works. And this is it straight into the amplifier. That was the bass focus is pulled out and the gain is on 6, so just above halfway. Cool. So then to get the tone essentially up the front, I've got the EQ, the Boss G7, I've got a Maxon OD808, got a Ryra sort of clone and the Keeley Oxblood, and then in the loop I've got the Earthquaker Dispatch Master. Nice. So easy one out of the way first. This is the Dispatch Master just for leads.
Lovely, we've used it before.
Yeah, sounds great. So then I'll go through each pedal individually. So just play a straight up riff. Like that. Then I push the G7 in. Actually takes away a little bit of high, mid and fizz. Put the Maxon in. Tightens up the low end, gives it more punch, and it supplies you with a tiny bit more chord definition. Take it back off. Put it back in. So
it is using it on zero drive again.
Yeah, zero drive, doing the modern sort of approach.
The push thing.
Yeah, no drive, level on halfway and tone just above halfway. And then the Ryra Clon, which was a guess if it would work or not, but it totally did. Everything's roughly just under 12 o'clock, so this is without. Push it in.
That sounds awesome.
It is, and so just before I go back to how awesome that sound is, the Oxblood we literally used for the beginning of Blood and Thunder. So everything stayed on except the Clon, and then we put the Oxblood in, and this is what you get. reason that we've done that, it's actually a drive pedal with some cool functionality. You've got a fat switch, a clipping switch, but it didn't sound like Mastodon, and I knew it was a guess when we got the pedal anyway. I got it because of the name, but it works for that excerpt. So we put all the drive off, level all the way off, turn on full, fat switch out, and the clipping stage in, and it gives you that sort of boxy kind of intro to Blood and Thunder. And then you take it off, put the clon back in. I could play that for hours.
That's really good. You could probably get the intro to Blood and Thunder sound. I reckon you could probably get that without spending a load of money.
I feel
on
like
a
I just
pedal.
need to use it though.
Oh no, of course, but I reckon you could probably get through that through the amp.
Yeah. And as this is busting, Matthew.
Yes.
As this is busting, I may as well tot up really quick. This is 1,200, the amp's 900, the cab's about 500, so I'm like way over £2,000 there. And then my pedals, all in their entirety, is about £600-700, possibly more.
I think I might have won with the money.
Yeah, I think you might.
The head here, the Friedman Butter Slacks, which is ridiculously awesome, ridiculously loud, is £3,500
For the head alone.
So I'm not even going to talk about the rest of my rig. I'm just going to leave you with that price.
Totally
And
busted the bank and left everyone for dead.
exactly. So you can check out all the gear and the latest prices in the description box below.
You can indeed.
More details of all this cool stuff. And
Let us know what you think.
yes, did we sound like Mastodon?
I
That's
hope
the
so.
question.
I felt like we were Mastodon in a way. I don't have tattoos on my face, but it doesn't matter because I found stuff that I'm really happy about.
Exactly,
I've learned
and
from this video.
and I've learned that the riffs are the most fun to play.
They're totally
It
fun.
is the most. If you're wondering what you should do with your life, start a Mastodon cover band. You
There you
will
go.
not be disappointed.
And on that note, I've been Rabea,
And I've been Matt.
and this has been Sound Like on Andertons TV.